What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning back into Scorpio TV. Happy Valentine's Day to all the ladies out there, to the ladies that have a man. Fellas, I hope y'all treated y'all ladies good. Because if you don't, another man will. Keep that in mind. Okay, so for the holiday today, we have Broccoli Animations, 2 disturbing Valentine's Day horror stories animated, uploaded February 12th, 2022. Now, y'all already know all the important links are down in the description. We have had Broccoli Animations on the channel before. It's been a couple of weeks, maybe like a month or so, if I remember correctly. But when I put in Valentine's Day horror stories, this is the first one that popped up in the YouTube search bar, so it's someone I'm familiar with. So we're definitely going to get back into it because I did like how he did his videos. So, you know, all the important links down in the description. Let's get into it. Y'all know I got my lemonade, right?
I've always been somewhat of a romantic. Even though I didn't have long-lasting relationships, I did my best, especially on Valentine's Day. I would go all out ever since I was 10 years old. That's when I had my first girlfriend. I remember that year. I asked my mom to make heart-shaped brownies for her. I went to school holding that big box of brownies ready to give them to Amanda and express my love for her.
What?
Of course, when I got there, she was holding hands with Tyler, but that's a story for another time. And hey, do like and subscribe. Fast forward to when I was 24. I was going home from work that very day. It was a little past 5 p.m. I got off the bus and started walking towards my building. But then something caught my attention on the way there. Someone was sobbing somewhere around me, but I couldn't quite see who was it. I kept walking, and leaning against a car was a blonde, beautiful girl who had tears dripping on her red sneakers. "Are you okay?" I asked, being genuinely concerned. She didn't answer. She continued crying and looking at the ground as if the world around her didn't exist. I had 2 choices right then and there. I could leave her alone, or I could stay and maybe help her out in any way that I could. I'd choose the latter.
Of course you did.
"I'm sorry, I don't mean to be intrusive or anything, but if there's anything I could do to help, let me know." This time she responded. The girl turned her head towards me. Her blue eyes were mesmerizing. "I didn't mean to ignore you earlier. I'm having a really shitty day. You see, my boyfriend dumped me. Today!" she yelled. I was startled.
He ain't trying to buy no
I started
gifts.
thinking to myself, what kind of asshole would dump his girlfriend on Valentine's Day?
He ain't trying
He must
to
be a
cash
real
out.
idiot. But of
Yeah.
course I didn't say any of this to her. "I woke up this morning thinking that he'll surprise me with breakfast in bed. He said he'd do it, and because I'm so stupid, I believed him. But instead I was surprised with a bag with all my stuff. He wasn't even home, and attached to the bag was a handwritten note telling me to get out of his house."
Damn.
She vented, and as she told me this, she cried even harder. Her story was heartbreaking. No one deserved to be treated this way. I looked around and spotted a flower shop on the other side of the street. Without even hesitating, I told her to stay right there and that I'm going to be right back. She didn't know what I was up to. I crossed the street and bought a bouquet of red roses. "Do you want a box of chocolate to go with the bouquet, dear?" the florist asked me. "Oh yeah, thank you," I responded. She handed me the goods. The girl looked stunned as I stood there with the flowers and the box of chocolates. I said that I bought them for her. She started crying even harder and came to give me a hug. I didn't know how to react. "Thank you so much. This is the nicest thing anyone has ever done." She took the gifts and grabbed my hand.
Some don't seem
"We're
right.
together now,"
What?
she said while looking into my eyes.
See?
Something was off.
She crazy.
I mean, I get it. They were nice gifts that came out of nowhere, but I didn't want to be with her. I just wanted to be nice. I let go of her hand. "I'm sorry," I chuckled. "Did you say that we're together?"
You heard her.
She looked at me as if I was speaking in a foreign language. "Yes, of course we are. We're gonna get married," she said.
She crazy.
The
as shit.
entire situation was blown way out of proportion. Married? I didn't even know what I was doing with my life. I took a step back. She looked kind of crazy at that moment.
No shit.
I said that it was nice to meet her, but I had to leave. She couldn't believe what I said. "Oh yeah? You'll be sorry." She yelled at me as I started walking faster and faster.
Maybe it wasn't her
I looked
boyfriend.
back and saw her throwing the flowers and the chocolate into the middle of the road. Good thing I didn't live far from there, and I quickly got into the apartment. But as I shut my front door, I had a strange feeling. It was like someone was watching me. I locked the door, made myself something to eat, and went to bed. In the middle of the night, I heard my doorknob turning. I immediately got out of bed and went to see what was going on. I looked through the peephole, but it was too dark to see anything. "I'm going to call the police!" I yelled from inside my house. The person stopped. I waited there for about 5 minutes to listen for anything suspicious, but it seemed like I'd been left alone. As I turned around, the sound of glass shattering made me tremble. I knew it. Someone broke into my house.
No shit.
They must have used the fire escape. But my phone was in my bedroom. I couldn't call the police. The next thing I did was to try to open the front door so I could leave my apartment, but I couldn't. I was trapped in there with the intruder. "Hello?" I yelled, scared out of my mind.
Oh my God.
I walked slowly, trying to get to the kitchen to grab a knife. But when I got there, someone already beat me to it. "Hello, lover. You forgot to give me a key to your place, but that's okay. I managed to get in anyway."
How did you find out where
It
I
was
live?
that same girl. "What are you doing here? Are you insane?" I asked her, heading toward the bedroom to call the cops. "Are you sure about that? Do you want to be charged for murder?" I found that statement absurd, but as I looked at her, I saw that she started cutting herself with the knife.
Oh.
She made small slits on her arm. "Now come here and give me a kiss," she said. I continued to walk toward the bedroom, and all of a sudden, I felt a sharp pain in my right arm. I looked at it and saw my knife jammed into my triceps. She threw it at me as I was walking away.
Got a good aim.
I looked at her again in shock and saw her running toward me with the craziest look I ever saw on someone's face. She then jumped on top of me, knocking me to the floor and starting to scratch my face like a cat. I managed to get a hold of her and threw her off of me. At that moment, she hit her head against the wall and went unconscious.
Damn.
I used those moments to tie her up with my good arm, and then I called the cops. When they got to the door, they told me to open it, but I couldn't. Upon closer inspection, they saw that she jammed some sort of silicone into the keyhole so that it wouldn't open. Nevertheless, they knocked it down. They took her away and me to the hospital. "Hey, you don't know, but I have something to tell you," the guy said. He sat down and started telling me about Nina. That was the girl's name. And he was the asshole who broke up with her on Valentine's Day. But that wasn't true at all. In fact, she did the same thing to him a while ago. She pretended she was crying, and he stopped on the street to see if she was okay. Then she followed him, stalked him, and judging by the scar he had on his face, even tried to kill him. The girl was put into a mental hospital, but she managed to escape.
Oh my God.
And that's why I found her on the street. And as soon as she escaped, they called him, as he was the one present when she was admitted. That's how he knew where to find me.
Hell no.
That's why Valentine is coming. Where's your boyfriend? The TikTok video was very loud and filled the whole room. I checked the time, and it was just 5 a.m. I had many hours to rest before the next day, because unlike many other people whom this day was very important to, Valentine's was probably always going to be one of my worst days. I plugged in my phone and prepared to sleep, but it was hard enough to close my eyes, not to talk of actually getting the sleep. The picture of how it happened that day played over and over in my head, causing tears to fall down my cheeks unconsciously. I rubbed my palm against my belly, and for a few seconds, I imagined how it would have been like to actually hold my baby in my hands if he was still alive. February 14th was always going to be the worst day for me, and there was no one expected to change that. No matter how amazing they made me feel, it would be hard for a person to replace two people that I loved dearly and envisioned my future with perfectly.
What?
My husband, Billy, was someone I could vouch for as probably the most patient person. He loved really hard, and just as much as I was expecting our baby with gladness, he did the same. He forced me to go shopping for clothes for boys and girls because we didn't want to know the gender before birth. There's no point in this. It's like a waste of money, though. We can buy a lot more when we figure out what we're actually having, I told him one night when he brought up the idea of shopping again. It doesn't matter. It just shows how happy we are, and when we know the gender, we'll definitely have someone we can give the other genders to. We have so many friends expecting babies. It's all good, he told me. I smiled at the good memories I had with him. He was always considerate, right from the day we were expecting the child to the minute we were driving to the hospital to hold our baby in our arms. I cried hard at the memory of that night. It was a night of sorrow. The one night I didn't want to remember, but could somehow not wipe it off my memory. Our car was in perfect shape, or so Billy thought, which I still didn't bother figuring out even after it all happened. He rubbed my stomach gently, whispering sweet, calming words to me on the way to the hospital. I was still smiling at his words when he suddenly screamed, and the next thing I heard were gunshots, and I suddenly lost consciousness.
Damn.
But not before our car hit something really hard, which caused the airbag to jump out. Billy? I called when I eventually opened my eyes and couldn't understand where I was or what was going on around me. I was on one of those beds I'd seen in movies used to wheel people from accident scenes to help them in the ambulance. Where am I? Where's Billy? I asked the paramedics around me. Ma'am, take it easy. We will explain everything. That was the only thing they told me. No! Explain everything now! I was still arguing with them when I suddenly noticed I was lighter. I looked around to see if I was on air, but there was nothing like that. I touched my body gently to be sure I was still alive, until I got to my belly. I felt life almost sucked out of me.
Pause.
Where's my baby? I asked them gently and almost in tears. They took turns looking at each other and then back at me. Even though they'd said nothing, I could almost understand their silence. We're sorry, ma'am. We tried to save them both. That was the last thing I heard her say before zoning out again. I turned to the other side of my bed as the tears increased. I hate Valentines. This day is cursed, I said to myself before wiping my tears.
Damn. That's really messed up when you have like something traumatic happen on a holiday or close to a holiday. Like whether it's before the holiday, on the holiday, or after the holiday, but it's, if it's before or after, it's somewhat close to the holiday, because now every time, well, not every time, every year, when that holiday comes up, you're going to get emotional. Like whether you lost a loved one, lost a friend, got into a really bad car accident, maybe you hurt or killed someone else. Every single time that specific holiday comes up, it's just gonna be bad memories. You're not even really gonna be able to enjoy it like you want to, because it's not that it's cursed like she said, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I think I explained it to the best of my ability. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all, if not all of y'all, know what I'm getting at. That's like if you get into a car with your friend, right? And you're driving. Y'all both been drinking. And you get into a car accident at this certain intersection, right? Excuse me. And you get into an accident at this intersection. You survive, though with pretty serious injuries, but you survive, but yet your friend doesn't survive. Your friend dies in the accident. Now, once you recover, if you're actually able to recover 100%, now every single time you come to this intersection, you could be having the best day of your life. You come to that same intersection you had that accident at, immediate bad memories is just gonna flood into your brain. And it's messed up. It's really like, I can't imagine that, bro. I can't. But y'all know what I'm saying, though. But that's how I feel about the second story. I feel bad for her. I thought it was going to be some type of twist, like the first story. I thought she was going to murder her husband, and somehow something would happen with the baby. But I thought she was gonna murder her husband because watching Broccoli Animation's videos, he just has these M. Night Shyamalan type twists to them. I never know how the story is actually gonna end. Like, I may think I know how it's gonna end, but then he'll just do like a complete 180, 360, 720, however you want to put it, and just catch you completely off guard. So that's how I feel with the second story. The first story, I wasn't trying to be with you, shorty. I was just trying to make you feel better, possibly get some play, get some cheeks, like, you know. But yeah, I want to know how the hell she found out where he lived. That's the craziest part to me. But yeah, I don't know, bro. In today's day and world, if you are walking down the sidewalk or down the street, driving, whatever, and you see a girl crying on the side of the road, or you see a dude in distress on the side of the road, in today's day and age, bro, you almost can't even take that risk at trying to see what's wrong with them or see what's going on, because it could be a trap. I've heard of people being broken down on the side of the road somewhere with their hazard lights on, and a good Samaritan comes up to try to help, and they end up getting robbed by the person or the people who are in the broken down vehicle. Like, you can't trust anything in today's world. That's life lessons. That's how I feel about the first video. He should have just kept it pushing. I commend him for having a good heart, but when it seems too good to be true, it usually is. That's all I can say about that. Drop a like, comments, feedback, subscribe to the channel. Make sure that bell icon is tapped. I want you all to stay safe, stay blessed, stay humble. Hope you all have a good Valentine's Day, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.